you Hypnosis Practitioner International Qualification. That is what we're going to discuss in this video.
Yes, Claudia. I think that is something where I often get inquiries, and people wonder what can they do with this, and why should they study hypnosis, and what are some of the benefits that they'll gain from it. And this is something that a lot of people don't know, that you as a practitioner get just as much, if not more, benefit than the people you're helping. So I'm jumping ahead. I think we should start at the top.
No,
because
but
we've got our 10 reasons.
You got a point there, because we're doing this for a very long time, since 1998. And this is something that is so important, and we don't really mention it anywhere in our material that we send out to people, that when we come to the end of the studies and they say, I've got no issues left, I don't know what to work on. So your own personal growth is just tremendous. It's just tremendous. It's tremendous. Yeah.
I see people coming in. See people coming in. The people that leave when they're done with these courses, different people, changed.
Oh yeah, totally.
Completely changed.
And not only they have changed, it's also their perspective, their understanding of the world around them. You have more patience for other people. You kind of always look behind how people behave, because if somebody, let's say, is aggressive to you or wants to start a fight, you're not necessarily going into the defensive straight away. You will, as a practitioner, you will know there must be a reason behind that.
Yeah.
So you have a completely different way of interacting with the people around you.
Everything shifts the way you react. Okay. Let's start from the top. And our point one here is, get out of the rat race and start your own practice. And I think the first thing we need to mention is, or maybe ask, is who can join our training? Can everybody join our training, or do you need lots and lots of qualifications before you're allowed to do our training? What age? What would be the prerequisites for our training?
We do mention that in some marketing material, but the prerequisites are very simple. You need to have the wish to help others. Without that, why would you even consider doing that? And if I take myself, for example, I always, since I was a teenager, I had an urge to do something meaningful with my life. And I remember being a teenager and thinking I must become a doctor or a social worker. Then I toyed with the idea of studying psychology. And obviously none of that ever happened. But I did a lot of courses, and I went to Lifeline, became a Lifeline counselor. And when I saw all this pain in the world, that the phones don't stop ringing, and as the Lifeline counselor, which is a fantastic institution, but you're really limited to kind of feedback. And that was my personal turning point, where I said, then I need to be able to do something that has more impact. And boy, oh boy, then the journey started for me. That was my way. And it was really, whoever listens, if you want to make a difference, if you want to do something meaningful, something that you can be satisfied and fulfilled with, because what you're doing, how you employ yourself and use your life that you have been given, this is the most fantastic way I can imagine.
Absolutely. And then maybe we can just add that you should have a fairly good command of the English language, right? Just because all the training is in English, we're affiliated with the IMDHA, which means all moderation, if it takes place, is from the American body. So all communication, case studies, the classes, everything is in English. So you should be able to communicate quite well in English. You don't need to be, like an English professor or anything, but you should have a good command of the language.
And yet you can hear from my accent, and of course, I learn English words every week still, even though I have a fair command of the language, I think. But
Yeah.
when you listen, I make lots of mistakes, and
Mm.
there are occasionally words that I don't understand, and it has never been a handicap. We have French people, lots of Afrikaans, and many other Italian, and what other nationalities. And what I love about it is once they understand and once the studies are completed, it is beautiful that they can take this into their own culture, into their own community, you know.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a
Absolutely.
handicap. Don't think, oh no, I'm whatever. I can't study this. As long as you comprehend what we teach and you can put your case studies down and things like that in English. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
100%. And then maybe still sticking with this point, this rat race part, get out of the rat race. I think that is the good part, right? Because I find so often, I see with my clients, that after a while they feel stuck. And I've heard this so many times. They get up in the morning, get up real early, get ready, stuck in traffic for an hour or more sometimes. Then same stuff all day, every day. Leave the office, peak traffic, get home very late, very tired, have to prepare supper, and then go to bed exhausted, and then the whole thing repeats day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, years and years and years. And that's why it starts feeling like a rat race, because it's just the same thing over and over and over. And with this, what this will enable you to do is start your own practice and become your own boss, set your own hours. Maybe wake up a bit later in the morning if you want to, or maybe start a bit earlier in the morning if you want to, or whatever suits you. And this is one of the things that I feel is one of the most beautiful benefits of studying hypnosis practices, is the freedom it gives you. Just a little bit of additional freedom to set your own pace, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I've never been in a rat race unless I created it for myself, because I'm completely unemployable. And so I always had my own business. And you obviously need to have some discipline to arrange your life, but the freedom it gives you and the joy of being able to arrange your life the way you want it, and the fulfillment at the end of the day to say, well, not only what I've done is fulfilling, but how I did it is fulfilling. And we have a lot of students that come, can I say that, out of the corporate, and they're looking for something to add something to their lives that is more meaningful. It's a good point.
Absolutely. Sure.
But what about finances, people may ask, I have a good salary, I can rely on that, which is our point number 2.
Yes, create your own financial security. Claudia, it's just like anything else. Once you're done and qualified and you build your practice, what will happen is you will build it up, right? So I don't recommend people the day they qualify to resign and then go and sit in their practice. The way I did it is I built it up. I actually still kept my job as an engineer, and I started part-time. And I gave myself 2 years I decided it's gonna take 2 years of doing this part-time before I think I'll reach the level where I'll be able to carry my salary. It took me 6 months, right?
Really? I didn't know that.
That's
so amazing.
Quick. It was so quick, and then it was paying better and more than the engineering. And then what I also need to say is I have seen people do this in 2 months, right? In Joburg, I've seen people do this in 2 months. So it's possible, but then you have to do your marketing. You have to have some business sense and work at it. And it's not a relaxed pace. So my recommendation, and that's what I did, but people are different. My recommendation is not to see this as another job. So don't go and do this and then go and have this intent of just like working yourself to the bone. I'd rather have an intent of having fun and enjoying it and making a difference. And then the income will come and it will build up, and
Yeah.
then it's a lot more sustainable for
Yeah.
your subconscious, your inner child, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it is also good for the listeners or the viewers to know that our whole curriculum is kind of made or structured in a way to help
Yes.
our students with certain courses or with certain thought patterns to get started.
Yes.
We always kept this entrepreneurship in mind with the curriculum. And there are certain things, and we share that so freely, that if you do it like this, that will definitely speed up the word of mouth, so that people recommend you. And it is quite amazing after, there is this checkerboard kind of system that happens. And once you have reached the tipping point,
Yes.
where people sometimes get recommendations from, it's quite amazing how the word spreads, because the modality is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not the way you look or the way you smell. It is the sheer effects and the success that people have, and in such a short time in comparison with some other techniques that can be used. And that makes it like a wildfire spreading, and people start recommending you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Clara, you know how many times I've heard this, that people say by the time they're done with the training, because of the case studies, they've already got a practice running.
Yes.
Because those case studies, those people spread the word.
Yes.
And they have families,
Yes.
and they have friends, and they have colleagues, and then it's just starting.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what you're saying. It's designed and built in a way, there's so many courses out there. You do the course, you're done, and the day you're done, you go, now what now? It's like you don't know what to do, because there's no practical, and our training is such that you can just go for it. Once you're done, you are ready to just go ahead and practice.
And actually it starts about 3/4 during the course of studies already. Once you got the first qualification, you can start already. It's about 3/4 on the way. You can already start with your practice and still continuing with the rest of the studies.
Already an income.
Absolutely. And then get the income. Yeah. Absolutely. So then you said point number 3 is relax for a living and set your own hours. I think you covered that already a little bit. But the question that people often, because they can't look from outside in, they said, how much should I charge and how should I do this? Well, you probably have to do a little bit of a research what people in the area that you want to practice in are charging for similar things. Because you don't want to outprice yourself. Once you're known, well, then it's really, I think people will pay to get better. But it's not, I don't know, for me, it's never been, I want to squeeze money out of my clients. I just need to live, and I want to live well. And I deserve to have enough money to pamper myself, to do the things. So if you have that in mind, then you kind of say, so what amount would I need monthly, either in addition to what I do already, or just as this is my primary income? And then you could just divide it by what you charge per hour or per session to come to an idea how many clients would I need to see. And then, of course, we have the group sessions that we can't go into now, but we explain this quite early in the curriculum. That is a big money spinner. If you go into group session and you work with groups, and so many of the group participants would want most probably to see you in their private capacity. So we help our students on the way, all the way.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we said this already, make a difference by helping people.
Yes, absolutely. That I just want to add one little thing about the last point, and that is that I find myself working with clients, practice maximum 4 hours a day. So just to give you an idea, and that is sufficient for me, right? To make a living.
Yeah.
So that is just for those people that's things in terms of hours and how much time. So obviously you can work full day, but a lot of practitioners I know only work in the morning or only work in the afternoon, or maybe work only 2 or 3 days a week. And you can absolutely do this. And this is just referring back to that freedom we were talking about earlier that this gives you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Let's go on. What was that next one? Oh yes.
Yeah. I think we covered that right in the beginning. Make a difference by helping people.
Yes. Absolutely.
If you have that calling, I don't know what could be more fulfilling than seeing the relief and release and getting the feedback from your clients that you help them. And I mean, I sometimes get people that come 10 years later and they said, I will never forget what happened. And we must maybe say, it sounds like we do that. We just have the techniques and we facilitate it. But let's just say that it's always the client who makes the adjustments and makes the choice of the adjustment. Yes. We just pave the way for them to do that.
Yeah, they find their own healing.
That's a nice way of putting it. Yes.
Absolutely. And I like saying on the courses, when you help somebody, who do you actually help the most? Who gets the most benefit? And that's this point. This is so rewarding, so fulfilling, making a difference in this world. For me, that's what it's about. And that's the core of it. That's the core of it.
Well, I don't know where I got the sentence from, and maybe I created it, but that was my motto from the beginning. Whatever gets healed in you gets healed in me. Yes. From my point of view, believing that we are kind of all connected. So if you have an issue, by guiding you through the techniques to make your choices to get better, some parts of that are mirrored for me as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's not just rewarding.
So
yeah.
It goes so far. Right. What's the next one, Claudia?
The next one online. Is and that took an immense boost when COVID started. I mean, we always had aspects of online sessions, but it was never really an issue. But when the COVID times happened, and you have done tremendous training videos that we made available on YouTube, then it really started breaking out. And just yesterday, I was speaking to one of our graduates. She graduated a few years ago. And she says she does most of her work now online, and she has clients in New York and in other continents. Yeah. And she says she's quite surprised. She was resistant at first to do this, but she is quite surprised how easy, and she actually said sometimes easier it is to do online sessions.
Exactly. I had the same thing. Some of our practitioners who felt a little bit resistant to online sessions, before. Now they say, some of them say they prefer that. They rather do online sessions for a variety of reasons. And I think we're covering 3 points here, because the next one says be able to practice in times of lockdown. That's another benefit, and build an international client base and charging dollars, pounds, or any other currency. And that's the most beautiful thing. With some of these currencies being so strong, they don't care about our rate. Our rate for them is nothing. So you either, do a lot of these sessions internationally for your current rate, or you push up your rate to adjust to what's more, practical for, in terms of charging. And that is amazing. If you think that you can start earning money in pounds or in American dollars or some other dollars, that is a lot of income.
And your market suddenly increases to the whole English-speaking community in the world. Not just who can drive to me within, let's say, 45 minutes. you know, or to my practice. Basically, anybody in the world that you can communicate with and who seeks this kind of intervention is your potential client. So that is mind-boggling.
It is. It's amazing. And what I've noticed, because I've been doing online sessions now for more than a decade, but what happened with COVID is it's almost like people have become more open to online work.
Yeah.
So they're a lot more accepting, and you know, and because of that, that market has just opened up completely. And now something interesting happens is somebody contacts you, or a referral or whatever, and you do a session with somebody, let's say in Australia, and then not long, then they say, you know what, you need to see my partner, and then the child, the teenager, and you know what, the mother, and then their friends, and then before you know it, you're fully booked with people from Australia, and it just runs. And then the most interesting thing happens, because people are now communicating so much online. I've had referrals. The last one was a lady that's in Holland that referred somebody from Australia. And I was like, how does this happen? It's mind blowing. It's but that's an international community that's starting to be created. And this is the most beautiful thing. Imagine being able to sit in the comfort of your own office or practice or wherever you have your faster internet connection, and to be able to see clients from all over the world. It's amazing. It's a new era.
The situation opened up a whole new perspective that prior 2020 I never really focused on, and it's a lot more opportunity out there for our graduates. Absolutely. So you covered that point now, the freedom to practice in other countries. And so what do you mean by specialize in your area of choice and live your passion?
So at this point, I can also recommend another video clip that we did, which is about the SAIH curriculum, the overview. It's also here on the channel somewhere. And it's a beautiful video clip that explains that we have what we call our core curriculum. And you'll see it, you'll find it, it looks like little steps. It's a graph that goes up like that. And the core curriculum is what enables you to get your core qualification. And then included in the core qualification, or the final qualification, you should have one specialty. But there are in actual fact 5 specialities, and you can specialize in any of these areas, or more than one area if that's your interest. You can specialize in helping people with compulsive behaviors like smoking. And there's a huge market for that. I mean, especially now with COVID, so many people have become aware of their health and the risk involved with smoking, so they want to stop. And the smoking side of my practice has never been this busy, right? So, and so many people are telling me this, and it's this time. So you can do that, or you can go more spiritual. There are 2 spiritual courses. The one is the whole spiritual spectrum, beautiful, vast collection of spiritual aspects. And then there's a past life and soul journey aspect, which is more advanced, which you can also specialize. And please understand, any single one of these areas is there's enough demand to build a whole practice just on that. Just to give you an idea. And then there's a conversational hypnosis aspect, which is entire area in and by itself. And then there's also the HypnoMed, or advanced pain management, where you help people with their chronic pain, which is, according to statistics, 1 in 5 people have chronic pain. So again, if you think international market, 1 in 5 people, how many people are on the planet? There are lots of clients.
And painless childbirth, you know, this is how I came to hypnosis, because my obstetrician taught me self-hypnosis, and that was my entry point. So let's not forget about that. And dentistry. There's a lot of applications in dentistry. So I find, because we obviously during the curriculum explain about the specialty courses and what they are, and the students will understand before making a choice to do a specialty course what it is about. And I find, and I wonder whether you agree with me, that over time, you only need one for your final qualifications, but over time, most of the students do all of the courses.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's
exactly.
just, you want to know the whole spectrum of what can you offer. And once you know the whole spectrum and you've been practicing for a while, I somehow think your area of choice, or in what you're specializing, kind of comes automatic.
Yes.
You know, you're more drawn to it, and those kind of clients are more drawn to you. So even you might say that on our referral side, we have all our graduates are on our referral side, and you might say, oh, I've got, you know, competition in my area. It's actually not really the truth, because everybody applies themselves and applies the techniques that we teach a little bit different, and draws a different kind of clientele.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just adding to that, what you've just said is, if you have a client and let's say she comes to you for stop smoking, and now she stops smoking, and then she goes away because she's now stopped smoking. But not long after that, she goes, you know what? I've got this spiritual interest. I want to know a little bit more about past lives.
Yeah.
Then she comes back to you, and if you don't have that training, you're going to have to refer her.
Yeah.
And that's why we actually find most of our practitioners ends up doing everything, because people are holistic. People have needs that's the complete spectrum, which is the training we have.
Absolutely. And I also find it might be of value to share that a person, let's say, has a weight problem or a body image problem, wants to lose weight or gain weight or something like that. What we teach is that we need to dissect that aspect, because nobody eats just because it tastes good. Something drives them to do whatever they do. And it is those drivers, those reasons, those underlying reasons, they are often tucked away in the unconscious. The client is not aware of that. And that could come from anywhere. They could come from anxiety, they could come from childhood, they could come from grieving, from feeling isolated and separated. So it's not like one pill for all, you know. We dissect that, and the more knowledge one has, the more directly and faster one can assist the client to find the solutions to their situation.
Exactly. It's holistic. It's you know, it's all the different dynamics. Yes.
And I don't know whether you're ready to come to the last point, although there are so many more. I don't think there's just 10 reasons there. And it's very personal, you know. I mean, every person, we should actually make a little survey and ask our students and graduates, what is your particular reason? And we probably come to 50 or 60 points.
Absolutely.
But number 10 says, become part of a network of like-minded individuals. And the friendships that have built, is that what you mean by that? The friendships that have built amongst the students.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's important to add that what SAIH, when you study through SAIH with us, you actually become part of a family. So what happens is, each course, except the self-mastery course in Joburg, has what we call a WhatsApp group. So then these people are, you're part of a little group, and you grow together. And we use what we call a study buddy system. So you actually get together for practice. And then what often happens with these groups is they start study groups. So they get together, not study, practice groups, where they get together and they actually bring their families, and then they swap families to be able to practice. And then we have a much larger group, which is called the SAIH Forum, that you can be part of once you've done RSA. And that is I don't know how many people are on there, but that is a lot of qualified people and a lot of the referrals happening on there, and also a lot of support and communication.
It's such a beautiful way. And you know what I love about it? We never once had to set rules for this forum. It is not inundated with all these irrelevant things. It is just there. I have a client with XYZ. Has anybody got experience? How should I approach it? And it is so beautiful how the input comes from all levels, and and supporting the person with the question. Yeah, and not to forget as well that sometimes I've noticed that our students team up to actually work together. You know,
especially group sessions, and starting a practice together. Beautiful.
Because if you think about it, if you have to hire a premises, and that could come quite costly, but if you say, you know, let's split the week, or however you want to do that, you're sharing all the costs for that. You know, absolutely. So that I've seen happening as well. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a supporting network. Yes. Okay. I think if I look at our list, we've gone through our 10 points, and it's like you say, there are more, because more is coming to mind, but I'm going to keep quiet, else we're going to sit here for hours.
Yes.
Because there's so much. It's so beautiful. For me, it's just a passion. It's my passion. I love it. I live it.
Totally.
Everything is just hypnosis.
Yeah, it has this hypno fever that catches you, and then it kind of gets you going. So if the viewer kind of sits now and it resonates with what we have said, the best way to start, what would be the next logical step after you watch this video and you really inspired to do this? So how do you get going?
Recommendation is to go to the website, and it's going to be at the bottom as well. And it's just go to www.hypnotherapy.co.za and then send an email. So there you will see, you can either, if you're closer to the Cape Town Training Center, you just send an email to the Cape Town email address, capetown@hypnotherapy.co.za, and the same for Joburg, jhb@hypnotherapy.co.za. And then we will respond. We'll reply with lots of information for you to go through to just know what's going on.
Yeah, or jump right in and do the self-mastery through auto-hypnosis course. Even if you decide afterwards that you don't really want to go through all the studies just yet, the tools that you learn in this one-day workshop that is almost running once a month in both cities, the value that you get for yourself, you keep for the rest of your life. So you could just jump right in and book that one-day workshop. Yeah. Any last words, Arno?
Yes, I want to add to that often when I speak to people, recommend that is get going, do the self-mastery. It's going to give you an idea of the training culture. You're going to get exposure to the modality. You're going to feel what hypnosis feels like, and you're going to get this beautiful skill set that you can use for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And it's only one day. So I really recommend you just go for it, jump in there, and then take it from there.
I think you summed it up really beautifully. Right, shall we close on with this?
Thank you, Claudia. Loved it.